Hello and welcome back to Shelby Your Boots. I'm Katie, the face behind Shelby Your Boots, and this week we have Guy on the show. Welcome, Guy. Thank you for doing this. So, Guy's a little bit different from other guests that I've had because you've had a little bit of a different sort of employment path after the military. But if you just introduce yourself and from when you did your clicks, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Yes, I'm Guy Di Salvo, 55 years old. I've just recently retired from the fire service after 29 years, but previous to that, I was in the Royal Navy for 5 years. And so I'd achieved what I wanted to do in the Navy, but I wanted something, a similar lifestyle, I suppose, structure and the same type of people, maybe a little bit of excitement as well. So that's why I chose the fire service. And I know a lot of former armed forces do. Boys and girls tend to gravitate towards jobs like that, I think. But yeah, it's a bit of a gap in between getting in the fire service because in them days it was even harder. Would you believe it was? So it took me a year to get in. I applied all over the country, and there was 12 of us that got in Derbyshire after 4,000 people applying.
Yeah.
So it's more luck than judgment, and so I'm certainly not the cream, as the people I've worked with would tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still as brutal in the fire service.
Yeah. And that, yeah, so I spent 20 happy years most of the time in the fire service, Derbyshire, then transferred to Leicestershire. And while I was, after transferred to Leicestershire, I got a secondment abroad to CERN. I don't know if you've heard of CERN, where they do the Large Hadron Collider experiments.
Oh, right, yeah,
Yeah. So it was there for 3 years. That was a fantastic experience, more life experience than work wise, because it's a large. If you imagine, it's a large. I don't know, similar to your boots factories in Nottingham when they were really large. Lots of buildings, lots of people working there, but not a lot of fires or road traffic collisions, as you can
yeah,
imagine. We were more used as insurance, I suppose.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's the thing with the fire service. There's these little pockets within it as well, like these very niche little fields within the fire
Yeah.
service. It's not just your generic, red truck fire station in a town somewhere. You do,
No.
your airports and things like that. I think I
Yeah.
remember way back, we're talking Afghan and Iraq era, that some people were also deploying as civilian fire service out to the airfields to cover
Definitely.
that side of it as well. So
Yeah.
it still kind of integrates itself at times
Yeah.
when required because yeah, we don't have really a fire service within the forces that could do what you do day to day all the time.
Yeah, I think there's the MOD fire service where they tend to be on the RAF bases where there's aircraft coming and going all the time, or where the risk is higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've not got any fire services within normal army camps, or certainly not in the navy. That's for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I think sometimes people don't realise that. Yeah, you've got sort of your public sectors of towns and everything, but then also you've got this private network as well,
yeah,
the airports and that side of it.
yeah.
So there's quite a few options, I think, and it's not until someone says it that you realise, and then you go on holiday
Mm.
and you see like fire trucks that look slightly different
Yeah,
to the normal
yeah,
one. But yeah,
yeah.
there are these real niche pockets and opportunities within it. From your long sort of service in the fire services, would you say, you have come across quite a few military, ex-military
Yes,
on
and
radio?
yeah, definitely. Not enough. I think there should be more,
Yeah,
because we bring a certain standard to a daily work life, not just timekeeping, but just standards to, you know, the standards you follow as a professional, um, and being able to carry out those more mundane jobs day in, day out, but to a high standard still. And there's not enough former armed forces in the fire service, in my belief. you don't want too many, but I think about a quarter of the workforce would be ideal, at
Yeah,
least. Yeah,
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 yeah. Because there is that kind of standard day, like you say, standard day to day stuff that is the maintenance and check-in and making sure your kit's right, and but
yeah,
also your own maintenance of fitness, health,
yeah.
looking after yourself, because you've got to have longevity in that job.
Yes,
You
yeah,
can't deteriorate at
no.
that job, which is why, for a while, and still pretty much now, that the retirement age, is it still 55, or have they moved it up now?
Then you can retire at 60 or you can carry on.
Yeah.
Because of age discrimination, there's no set limit now. As long as you can carry on passing whatever test they set, then yeah, you can stay in.
Just carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it it is something that is a little bit different that a lot of people probably won't even really think of. I've known some guys to, while they're serving, to also almost do the voluntary side of it as
Yeah.
well. Um, I think because they just can't sit still for 10 minutes. So I think one individual, he's done sort of the voluntary fire side of stuff and paramedic side of stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he's come out and carried on doing either or both of those side of things.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so it kept, for him, it was a nice little overlap as he left to
Yeah.
sort of build relationships in that world, see if he liked it, but build those relationships and that, and figure out how it kind of would work on the outside as well.
Yeah.
Do you see often that kind of happening, or is it very much, a lot of the guys will just leave and then make this decision to kind of
Yeah.
join the fire service after?
Yes, I've only seen or come across colleagues that have left the armed forces and yeah, they were looking to join the fire service. I've not. That's a good idea. The overlap, as in dipping your toe into it. That's a good idea. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because
But
I
no, I've
know
not come across.
you do see it with the paramedic side, especially because we have medics and stuff, don't we? In
Yeah,
the forces, that they're starting to overlap, which I think it's a good idea for manpower, but it's a really good idea for just the general soldier to get an insight into it, especially if they've just been introduced to the medical world
yeah,
by coming into the forces and they're not seeing the NHS side. So
yeah,
it might egg them on, or it might put them off. Who knows what from what they see.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's always those options of dipping your toe in. But in terms of, because everyone within the military is very aware of fitness levels and things like that, what does the fire service look like now in terms of their fitness tests and requirements?
Um, the fitness tests are not that hard.
Yeah.
They're just not that hard. The bleep test is only 9.6,
Okay.
which if you can't get 9.6 at your start of your career, I mean, you really need a word with yourself because
Yeah.
that's the start of your career.
Yeah.
The job itself can be very physically demanding,
Yeah.
but the fitness levels to get in aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They do vary. They are trying to nationalise the fitness tests and the written tests and everything, but they do vary a little bit between regions. But if you think it's 9.6 for the bleep test, or I think VO2 max has to be 42.
Yeah.
It's to do with your lung capacity, and that's all I know really. And then I think there's a bench press where gives an example of taking a ladder off the top of the appliance, and it's basically, I don't know the weight, but it's not too heavy. Most people can do it. I think it might be 15 kilos. You just have to do that once or twice. But yeah, I mean, I'd say the work starts once you start recruit training really, and then you realise how demanding the job can be.
Yeah.
For instance, yeah, high-rise incidents where you've got a flat fire, say on the 13th floor, you'd be expected to not use a lift. Most of you will have to use the stairs, because the lift might not be a firefighter's lift, and it might be compromised. So you have to take all the kit there up with you, and that's about an average of 40 kilos of kit each firefighter would expect to take up, because
Yeah.
we weighed it, and then you're expected to go and fight the fire, drag people out, etc. So it can be physically demanding, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there so through that the training process and stuff? I'm assuming it's there's like a build up that goes through that, but obviously once you get to a point, if you're still not, you're going to end up getting dropped if you can't
Yeah.
continue on. Very much like phase one. If you're going to get to a point that's just not for you, it's just not for you.
Yeah, now they're doing it's a 2 year apprenticeship, but it's not really changed as how we used to see it. No, by the time you start recruit training, it is very unusual for someone to fail.
Yeah.
One, because they've spent that much money on you already, and another thing, you're at a level where you should be able to perform,
Yeah.
and the training is quite good. It starts from a very basic level to using ladders, and then it gets slowly more technical and more demanding as the course develops, and it can be between 12 or 15 weeks basic recruit training depending on the region or the county, but yeah, it builds up slowly.
Yeah. And what does the basic side cover you for? Is that literally like your house and like your tall rise fires, or is it just your houses and then you start to specialise in different areas depending on where you're placed? So obviously a
Yeah.
London-based firefighter is going to do a hell of a lot more high rises than Yorkshire countryside.
I would say if it covers the basics, so
Yeah,
it covers using ladders, fighting fires with breathing apparatus um, in buildings that are specifically designed to light fires and put them out. Basics on road traffic collisions, HGVs, hazardous materials. So they give you an all-round good level of the basics, and then you build up on that until your last day of the career, really, because you're constantly learning.
yeah, yeah. I think it is one of those. Like I say, it's just there's a constant refresh, but then also there's constantly new threats and things that they're finding, and types of
Yeah,
fires, and we've only
yeah,
got to look at Grenfell to realise a product we didn't even realise would go up like that. All of a sudden, it's gone up like that, and you're having to deal with it on the ground. Of what the hell is
we knew
this? What is going
we
on?
knew we knew about that product for a long time. I remember showing a YouTube video of a flat fire, and you'll be able to find it now in Toulouse in south of France.
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly like that. It just crept up the building.
yeah,
So, but yeah, you're right. There are things coming through. Like a big challenge at the moment is electrical vehicle fires.
yeah,
That's what we're learning a lot. Where you think you've put it out, but for 24 hours, there's still a risk of it reignition.
yeah,
And what they're having to do now, they're having to. I've seen them. They've created these basically big water tanks where if electric car or electric vehicle has been involved in a fire, they'll put it in this water tank for
yeah,
24 hours.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're not going to drive that again.
No. Put it in a bowl of rice, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've done that a few times on my phone.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you do hear about the electric vehicle fires, but yeah, I had seen, I don't know if I'd seen something that had happened last summer. It was on the news or something where something like that had happened where they'd put it out and then it kicked off again and then started fires everywhere else,
Yeah.
because it was the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a bit of a nightmare to sort of try and put out basically.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Yeah.
but in terms of like day to day stuff and like your battle rhythm, as people like to call it, what would people expect for your day to day, like your shift patterns, that
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Yeah. I've done various shifts of days only and what we call 224, 2 days, 2 nights, 4 days off. So in those shifts, you get to work. it's 7 till 7. So you on the parade line at 7 a.m. in the morning, and you're probably in your t-shirt and trousers with your fire kit right next to you, and then the junior officer in charge will detail what position you're on the appliance, and then what's going to happen for the day, what training we're doing, any other business. And then you'll go and check you should go and check every item on that appliance, even down to the screwdrivers in the toolbox.
Yeah, yeah,
And then a cup of tea, drink a lot of tea in the fire service. Jesus, a lot. And then it's 9 till about, 8:30 till about 10 o'clock. It's training. So you do practical training in the morning. And that could be anything. It could be breathing apparatus, out in the yard, throwing ladders up in the tower. You could be cutting up a vehicle, the scrapyard's delivered. And then it's breakfast. And then after breakfast, we tend to go out and you carry out your fire service inspections, fit smoke alarms, visit schools, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. So you become a very kind of
Very,
community sort of icon in a way. I know we see them near me, usually around lunchtime out in the wagon. They'll come get their lunch from the supermarket and that. And what I do see now, which I don't remember seeing before, is the wagons now have their like station on the side.
yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever remember seeing that before, but it was quite nice to see because it's like, oh, so that's where it is, because you
Yeah,
don't always see them. Because there are buildings that used to be fire stations, but they've all been changed and
yeah,
moved and rebuilt and all the rest of it.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
you always see them in their little gaggle going around the
yeah.
supermarket, getting all
Oh,
the
yeah,
getting all the food and stuff, and
yeah.
um, and was it the same case for you? Because what I have heard from several different people is like you've got like kitchen areas, and you all end up making like community dinners for each other, and you know
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
team.
yeah, definitely. We try and do that because we find that that's when people talk to each other,
Yeah,
and you can discuss. It can be stuff that's not important. It could be about previous incident. It could be all kinds of things, and especially if you're a junior officer, you want people to open up about stuff, whatever it is, feeling confident they're in a safe place, and by when you're eating and you're cooking together, it's a pretty safe place, isn't it? Everyone's
yeah,
quite relaxed. It's not formal, so yeah, that's one of the important things we do. Yeah,
yeah. Very much like a decompression.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It can be.
Yeah, and I'm guessing for the fire service, that's quite an important thing that they'd fight to keep for that reason.
Yeah,
It's not, you don't really get that anywhere else. I would have thought you don't get that in the sort of the nursing community or anything like. There's no, or even paramedics or police really. There's no space. There's a canteen, but there's no space to actually cook and
right.
have that kind of home-ish life
Yeah,
within the team that you are basically living with day in day out on your shifts.
yeah, yeah. That's very true. We're very fortunate, but we have to fight to keep it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it is good. Yeah.
like the good bit. And how big are the teams? You're having to cover 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it can vary from station to station. For instance, my last station, we were water rescue as well as firefighters. But most days are only four of us on duty. And that, yeah, every day there'd be four of us on duty. At bigger stations, there could be, anything from up to 20 plus, your big city stations.
Yeah,
So it can vary, yeah.
yeah. So it does make it quite almost as well quite a small pool that if you're going to go for it, you're fighting know, quite a big selection process potentially to fight for that one or two spots that are going at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it is. It is difficult. Say now that there aren't as many people that go for the job as they used to, and I don't know why. it might be something to do with people don't want to do that anymore, or the money. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's. I think Leicestershire. The last time someone told me it was 500 people had applied, which is quite low. And if
Yeah.
you go for 10 jobs, it's the chances are quite good, really. I suppose.
Yeah. I think sadly it's an element that you don't, in a good way and a bad way. It's a bit of a catch-22. In a good way, you're not seeing them as often. Normally when I see a fire truck, it's a big motorway incident.
Mm.
Um, and I live between two rivers, so now you've said like the water thing. I'm like, yeah, we see the fire a lot, either doing training on rivers or a canal
Yeah,
boat's gone rogue somewhere, took the wrong turning down a river, got stuck. Um, whereas your police and your paramedics, I've seen probably a hell of a lot more of. But also, I think because they're not there, you kind of forget. And like I
yeah,
say, when you said water, I was like, well, of course, because I see them all the time down here. But it's not something I instantly connected with the fire service, even though I probably see them most when there is water incidents, someone's gone swimming because
yeah,
it's summer and gone missing, or that yeah, the most recent one was a canal boat went too far, even though the signs say don't go down there. It went too far, got stuck, tried to turn, got even more stuck, and then was going over. So that was
oh,
two fire trucks, and
yeah,
a load of firemen stood at the side of the road going, oh, "Great, how are we going to do this?" and getting
yeah,
like a couple of them on board, and then ropes and all sorts were kicking off just to get this canal boat to stop it completely
yeah,
flipping.
yeah,
And then obviously like the flood side of things, cars getting stuck, and all this other side of stuff. Then when you start to think about it, you realise how much it kind of fans out that role. It is not just, I think, the stereotypical getting cats out of a tree and house fires anymore.
yeah.
It's so much more than that, like you say.
Oh, yeah. It's changed from when I joined in '94. It's the amount of different skill sets you now need is yeah, it's a lot more. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So from when you started to when you left, what was that difference? How much more had you taken on in terms of
Yeah,
skill set?
a lot more. The fires have not changed that much. Maybe some of the breathing apparatus kit is better. So that's not really changed. Road traffic collisions, the technology has changed with them, as in the rescue kit we now have, they're all battery operated tools.
Yeah,
So you've got a big set of cutters. The blades can be nearly as big as my arms now, and they'll cut through steel, but they're operated by a battery. I mean, that's from, we used to have old small petrol generator that used to power these, but now we don't. They're all battery operated, and they're so good. The kit's so good now.
yeah,
But also the technology in the rescue equipment has changed for the better. That's great, but so have cars, and cars are more dangerous for us to deal with now.
yeah,
You've got higher voltage, you've got different fuel supplies. They're harder to cut because they're made safe. So if you are in a crash, you're going to survive. You know, chance of surviving is a lot better because the car is now a shell of
yeah,
safety, let's call it. So there's more challenging for us in that. There's probably more hazardous materials travelling along our roads and rails than we're aware of.
yeah,
We're aware of it because we come across them a lot. And obviously you've got the terrorist incidents as well, which the fire service are involved with the police and other agencies. And yeah, we're expected to do different skill sets such as water rescue, rope access, rope rescue. The United Kingdom rescue teams are called USAR. Yeah. So they get involved with larger incidents where there's been, I don't know, a building collapse. And they're specially trained to enter collapsed buildings to try and rescue people or bodies. Yeah, so the amount of kit we've got now is changed drastically. It's a
yeah,
lot more. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm guessing as well, there's obviously opportunities within the fire service to become incredibly specialised to
Yeah.
then sort of develop and have impact on how everyone else is going to be dealing with these subjects, whether it be like say new types of vehicles and all that. So you can end up going down a stream that you end up creating those processes that help the future of firefighters carry on as well. So there is it's not a case of, well, once you're in, that's where you're going to sit. You could literally do so
Yeah.
much more with it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and a lot of research and development has been done by experienced firefighters. I mean, some of the firefighters I've worked with, a lot of them, if not a majority of them, are a lot more clever, intelligent than me, and it's not uncommon to meet firefighters that are still on the tools and they've got degrees in civil engineering, higher maths. Just in my team alone, sorry, in the team I was part of, there was myself with my background, there was a Royal Engineer who was still operational for searching for IEDs. There was a semi-professional cricketer. There was trades of electricians, plumbers, civil engineer with a first degree. So there's a lot of clever people there, and people like that, they're the ones that tend to get involved with the development,
Yeah,
and they tend to do it off their own back, to be fair.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because that's the thing as well. I think a lot of people don't think of is like your engineers, your bomb disposal, your ID guys, your ammo tech guys. That you go into very, very, very specialised roles, and it does get to a point for a lot of them, I think, that you start to look to leave and go, where am I going to go? What use is this to anyone else but where I'm at? But there are these pockets within, the fire service, the police, that will look for these groups of people because of the experience they've had already in the military, and
yeah,
it's like, well, actually, it might be a really nice transition because you're still going to be that history is really useful, but you're going to be learning other stuff as well on top of it that then might escalate you in a whole different path as well,
yeah,
with the foundation
definitely.
being the Royal Engineer bomb disposal.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, he helped us quite a few times, not in regards to IEDs, but just looking at things differently.
Yeah,
And civil engineer, if you've got a collapsed building, then who are you going to go to? We've got a civil engineer on the team, and they can tell you how that building's going to react,
yeah,
during an incident. Whatever job you've had in the armed forces, the fire service would suit most former armed forces.
yeah,
It's just the type of people you want in the fire service, the ones that they've got standards, they keep to those standards, but also is we tend to never give up.
yeah,
And that's really important. If you go into an incident and it's really challenging, whether it's because it's too hot, the kit you're taking is really heavy, you're being challenged with the amount of rescues you're going to do. Well, the kind of people you want by your side are the ones that won't give up and that will always be there, and whatever it's going to look like, they'll be by your side. And that's why former armed forces suit the fire service, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like you say, it goes from, you'll have similar things that happen day to day of kit checks and the processes that you go through, but at the same time you go out on a job and every job's different. Every job gives you a problem to solve. Every job makes you think on your feet and you have to react to it in the right way, in the best way,
Yeah.
which that also appeals to a lot of military people because then they don't get bored. They're
Yes.
constantly being tested and constantly being pushed, and that's what a lot of military thrive on is, how far can I push myself? How much better can I be and make myself? And that can only come from a job that is A, physically demanding for a lot of people, but B, mentally demanding, problem solving, putting all
Yeah.
the pieces, working as a team, listening to each other. they know that bit better. What, listening to that, but also learning from that experience as well. Listening to a civil engineer, thinking, well, I never knew that. That's a
Yeah,
good thing to know, and learning every day as well. So it's not a case of you're just going to do the same things day in day out. You just that's probably
yeah,
time to kind of recalibrate yourself a little bit and just you know have that bit of
yeah,
peace moment with yourself.
yeah, definitely. And the good thing about the fire service, um, every station is different.
Yeah,
Every watch on the same station can be different as well. In various ways. And brigades can be different, where, for instance, Leicestershire is quite a boring county. We've not got any big rivers, there's no hills, there's no mountains, and there's no sea. So our bread and butter tends to be the house fires, factory fires, road traffic collisions, that sort of thing. But then if you go to, I don't know, a place like one of the brigades on the northeast coast, then you've got what Leicestershire have got, but then you've got offshore firefighting where you might have to be flown out to a ship out in the sea that's on fire to assist them putting a fire out. Or you've got big rivers, you've got the sea rescues on the sea as well. You've got big rivers, you've got big mountains where you train hopefully with a mountain rescue to assist them with fighting fires or rescuing people. So yeah, the world is your oyster in the fire service. I think you can do all kinds of things.
where's the best place for people that are looking at leaving and they want to scope out the options for the fire service? Where's the best place for them to go? Because like you say, it can be very variable where they end
Yeah.
up, and where they actually want to make their home. And it might be that the world's their oyster and they could
Mm.
set up anywhere, so they want to set somewhere where it appeals to them. Where can they find that kind of information, to help them with those kind of decisions?
Yeah, it's just by doing research. You could speak to firefighters that live in the community you live in, um, and look at the different brigades. So you've got big metropolitan brigades such as London, West Midlands, and GMC, Greater Manchester. Um, they'll have some exciting stuff going on. You'll have more chance of getting in because the numbers are higher
Yeah.
to places. Um, but then, if you're former Navy or ex-bootneck and you live in the southwest, then you're going to try for Devon and Somerset or Cornwall. Smaller brigades, but they're still varied as well. You've got the sea, you've got big rivers, you've got the normal day-to-day house fires, etc. But you have those specialisms as well.
Yeah.
So it's all about research, really, to the
Yeah.
person involved.
And sort
Yeah.
of reach out where you can. And
Yeah, and that's a big thing, and that's what I did. And most people I know that when they were trying to get into the fire service, go to your local fire station. They're normally very welcoming because people did it for them. Go and speak to them, sit with the crew, have a cup of tea, take some biscuits if you go in, and that they'll help you because they've been in your position where they wanted desperately to get into the fire service. So
yeah.
yeah, just go to your local fire station.
Yeah. And in terms of like transferring, because like you say, you transferred from one to the other, how easy is that process? So, especially sort of people leaving, they might say, right, we're going to set up here, and then something changes, and they might have to transfer a couple of years later further up the country. Is that quite a difficult process?
Um, I've not heard anybody that's found it difficult. I certainly didn't. I transferred as a firefighter, and it was pretty straightforward. It's just when the places come up. I think there'll be more and more places coming available for transferees over the next few years because the age, the average age is quite high in the fire service at the moment. So there'll be quite a few people retiring, which means there'll be spaces available. And the fire service, it's cheaper for the fire service to recruit someone that's already trained than having to train them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there will be places available, and I see it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, if it's quite high, the turnover, it's going to all happen at once, isn't it? That turnover is going to hit. one or two
Yeah,
years in particular, and all of a sudden you're going to see adverts everywhere for
yeah.
local fire service.
Yeah,
It's always
to be honest, I've seen it on LinkedIn as well recently. Transferees welcome for the whole time, whether it's Bedfordshire, Northants, some of the Northern Brigades as well. Yeah, so that there are places available at all times. There's always you can always transfer. It may not be exactly when you want, but it'll be probably the following year, stuff like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And what's the sport like now? Do you still have sports teams? Because I've seen the odd team pop up on certain circuits of either the police force or the fire service have like sports team. Is that still a thing, or is that kind of petering out a little bit now? Because it's in certain areas, especially in the forces, it's petering out a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately it has. There are still sports clubs in some brigades, but yeah, there's not as many as there used to be, unfortunately. And part of that is the recruitment because there's no age limit now. So you can join the fire service. I mean, we had a recruit; he was 51.
Really?
Yeah. So there's no age limit to join the fire service. When I joined, you couldn't be older than 31 years old.
Yeah,
So there was always young people coming through. But now that's changed. You're getting people late 30s plus. Well, they probably don't want to play rugby anymore or football, because they might
yeah,
get injured, etc. So I think that's part of the problem as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not in. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even think of it like that because I don't even. It must still be there for the military because it was 30. You had to be in before your 31st birthday or something. Was it your 34th birthday? Might have been your 34th
Yeah.
birthday. They were very like. So you always get
Yeah.
this new turnover, and it's almost very much the opposite in the military, where you do get LEs that have, and I've spoke to someone on this podcast who did 33 years, but the people that are doing that are very few and far between. It's
Mm.
very much your 4 to maybe 10 year point. You get quite a lot through, but it's the highest turnover because that's when they leave. The 4 10 year point is probably
Yeah.
when they're going to go, or the 12 year point. Anything after then, yeah, they're probably going to make it to the 12th/22 maybe, but there's very few that carry on after that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's they just can't be bothered with it anymore, or the family's like enough's enough. We need to find a
Yeah.
home and stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then what you found sort of in the military was you get the young people, but then the older ones would then be the managers and the
Yeah.
admin behind it. They'd still have a connection with those sporting groups. So it's a shame that it's starting to peter out because I think unlike as well as the cooking and stuff, it's where people can get together also from different services and different crews and get to know the wider kind of fire service as well, and hear about opportunities elsewhere. It's
Yeah.
just a really good way to network and
Yeah.
like in a
Definitely.
really relaxed setting,
Yeah.
and get competitive as well.
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's always nice to see, especially like around me with the cricket and stuff. You get to see the police service and stuff, and they all have their teams and they come and play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Local teams, and all the rest of it, and you get to know your communities as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's more at the foot. And again, it probably with the recruitment, like you were saying, not sure why it might be part and parcel. Like I say, from my point of view, the visibility of the fire service. Like I've seen police force sports teams, not really seen fire service ones, very
Yeah.
few. But it is nice to see now. I am seeing them more often, like I say, going to get their lunch ingredients as a team, all going
Yeah.
down together. One's got the basket kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's the most I've seen of the fire service probably
Yeah.
since there was probably a good few years, a good 10 or 15 years where I really wouldn't see them. And then it's the last couple of years, like I don't know if there's been a shift within the fire service where the higher ups are saying you need to be seen more, or if it's just the way that boss runs things, that take the truck and go out.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I'd say they're very much more the last couple of years a bit more prominent in
Yeah.
public eye, I would say,
Yeah,
and including Remembrance as well. They came down for Remembrance. They brought the truck
yeah,
for Remembrance. They were all in their uniforms for work for Remembrance. So again, very visible in the public eye, which I'd not really seen before, which is interesting.
mm,
So whether there's a bit of a campaign going on.
yeah, might be. Yeah, I mean, we are more community focused now. The fire service, where we go out more. Fitting smoke alarms is a big thing. We go around people's houses and give them fire safety advice, and always going to schools, always have done. We'll go into factories. New premises that have gone up will go out of interest to find out, what they're doing, processes, and we give them advice as well because we're out there, to help people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I do remember, especially at school. Remember where it was. This is like primary school, and the fire service were doing, how to get out of your house and
Yeah.
what kind of plan you need, that kind of thing. But then we ended up going to this. I remember vaguely. It felt almost like a building site, but there was like porta cabins and stuff, and they filled a room full of smoke,
Yeah.
and you had to get out and crawl out through it. And I remember that like it was, yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember where it was and the rest of
Yeah.
it. I do remember very vividly this. I don't think we were even really told, but this smoke machine just went poof and scared us all. And then it was like, right, you need to get out. It's like, ah! So
Yeah.
maybe through a bit of trauma, you learn how to get
Yeah.
out of the house. But it was all part of this package with like school and the local um,
Yeah.
force of getting through to kids.
Yeah.
Which it's strange what stays with you because ever
Yeah.
since then, even with my travels, everything, like how would I get out?
Yeah.
How would I get out? It's always every time I've moved or whatever new building. How would I get out?
Yeah.
But that's from primary school. Um,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
fully from primary school.
Yeah.
So you've got to be good with kids. That's the main thing. If you can't be bothered
Yeah.
with kids, you're not going to do. You're
Yeah.
not going to
I mean,
enjoy this time.
the good thing about being a fire service, and it's different to the paramedics and police, that people tend to they love us.
Yeah,
They love firefighters, whatever we look like, because I suppose we're the ones we're always there to help. Where if you're a police officer, you might not want to see them for
yeah,
various reasons.
yeah,
So and yeah, mate, I don't know why, but I used to tell the people that our reputation has been really hard earned, um, and the reputation has been earned by people before us, not ourselves.
yeah,
And it's really important. The history is really important to the fire service as well. Like in the armed forces, you probably remember that when you joined up, you were told about the history of, the service you were joined, and I know I was, and the same in the fire service.
yeah, yeah. It's very. I think in my mind, the way I look at the fire service, it's the last little glimmer of that kind of old services of Britain. Like you've lost the police houses and all this other stuff. It's all become
Yeah,
very very modern, and for me, it's quite. You kind of look at the fire service, and it's just the last little glimmers of old Britain, of this community team that, like you say, yeah, the kit's changed and the trucks have changed and all the rest of it, but the way they operate and the way they are, and they're part of the community, and they're still involved with the schools and with kids, and you know helping the little old lady and all the rest of it. That
yeah,
whole kind of side of it is still there, which you don't overly see everywhere else. Because, like I say, the police might go in every now and then, but they'll have a whole kind of potential civilian department that deals with that side of it, and you don't know your local bobby anymore, and you don't
yeah,
you see a
yeah,
doctor, but it could be one of five. Whereas I
yeah,
feel like the fire service still has that kind of old way about it, where it's like it's very, very much there, and that's how they operate, and they're part of the community still.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
That's what it still feels like. Um,
Yes.
when I think even the military has moved away from that quite considerably. So it's nice to still see it in that kind of light, especially now I'm seeing them more in the public eye as well, I
Yeah.
think. Um, but yeah, like you say, you seem to be very well received everywhere. And
Yeah.
whenever you see fight, there's just a fascination with kids as well, isn't there? That they want to wave, they want the sirens to go off, they want the lights, they want to go and sit
Yeah.
inside it. It's a big truck.
Yeah.
It's shiny, it's red. The kids just love it.
Yeah, they do. It's yeah, it is very fortunate to have been involved with something like that, definitely.
Yeah. Looking sort of now,
Yeah.
obviously, you did you're 5 years in the Navy, you've done 20 years in the fire service. Leaving now, are you sort of feeling similar feelings that you were feeling before when you left the Navy? Are you kind of coming out the other side and being like, oh, I remember this feeling when I left
No,
the Navy?
no, it's quite different. I'd only did 5 years in the Navy, but when I left the Navy, it was really difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah, but having done 29 years in the fire service,
yeah,
no, it's been easy. It's been great.
yeah. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed leaving.
yeah, it's yeah. I left, not under a cloud. I was just, my time had come. I think I felt my best before date had reached the date. My shelf life had, I was still fit and everything, but I think I've done enough now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's nice to sort of close the door and be like, yeah,
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah,
happy
yeah,
days.
yes, very much so.
That's good to hear that transition as well. It's 29 years versus 5, and the 5 years were harder
Yeah,
than the
yeah,
29, which I think says a lot as well.
yeah. I suppose it's because, when we join the armed forces, it's so different from everything else. And the age you join, normally, it's very your formative years, isn't it? It has a big effect on the way you are and the way you're going to be. And some of the things you do can, in the armed forces can be incredibly exciting or incredibly frightening, or just challenging but rewarding as well. So, yeah, those 5 years were very formative for me, and when I left, it was very difficult. So I understand completely, the men and women now leaving the armed forces. I know how difficult it is for them. Yeah,
But yeah, there's another option, and I would say I think it's an option sometimes that is overlooked and not realised, which is the fire service. Um,
without a doubt.
but
Yeah,
has such great opportunities within it. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think
yeah.
it's worth a look. It's worth a look. My knees would, the moment you said walking up 20 flights of stairs with 40 kilos, my knees went, nope, absolutely not. We're not
Yeah,
doing that. You can't do
that's
it. You can't do the Stairmaster in trainers. No.
yeah.
My knees are screwed.
Saying
So
that
yeah,
as well, in regards to the fire service, they're not just the operational roles and the non-operationals as well, where you can get educated to degree level covering fire engineering, fire safety, and things like that. So it's not just
yeah,
fighting fires; you can be non-operational as well. So people could consider that.
yeah. So that, yeah, there is literally a whole landscape to look at.
Yeah,
Um, and I think and I think it is one of those like places, and I've heard it several times from different people that with like you say the military people that move over are really sought after, because they know what they're getting with that, and I think it's probably one of the few sort of civilian places that are probably really quite vocal about it compared to other companies and corporate. They want, they look for veterans and all the rest of it. But I think a lot of it sometimes is to do with the tax breaks and bits and pieces that they get.
yeah,
But the
Yeah.
fire service, I think, is one of the few places that it's like, no, we want you because you'll just fit in, and you just made for it.
Yeah.
Um, which is also quite nice to see and hear as well. Um, and it's just, yeah, it just goes on the landscape that you could and the career you could have could be huge within the
Yeah,
fire.
definitely. Yeah.
But no, it's been great, Guy, to get you on, and it's been great to talk about the fire service because it's just, yeah, it needs to be highlighted more, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I fully recommend people look at it, especially if you are one of those niche roles like Royal Engineer and thinking, what the hell am I going to do? If you got your class licenses and all the rest of it, it's all worth it.
Yeah, that'll certainly help. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, get all them done if you're in the engineers.
Yeah.
But fab, thank you, Guy.
No worries. Thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, you too. Bye now.
Thanks. Bye.